I'm always doing something when I start a video up. Always! YouTube. How are you? This is one of those... You know how, like... We probably don't because I think I removed most of them. I do my, like, fun-loving videos and I'm like, yeah, everything's great! And then I would do, like, a serious video where I talked about something near and dear to my heart, or something that irritated me, made me angry, or what have you. And I realized that I would actually enjoy the opportunity to make a video about my father. I don't know. It's weird to. It's something that's hard to talk about because I don't like when I get too into it, and then the emotion kicks up, and that part sucks. I don't care who you are or what anyone says. To do the action of weeping in front of anybody is a feeling that nobody likes, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. There's not. I bawled when it happened, and I have several times since. Sometimes it hits you hard, and there's nothing you can do about it. And today it's been hitting pretty hard. That's what the video before this one is about. With the song that I had revised because it was making me think of him. But in 2016, my father was diagnosed with stomach cancer, and I believe it was less than a year later. That was it. He left. He went home. And there wasn't anything that could be done about it, which made it more frustrating. We watched it get worse and worse, and then it was over. It was just done. And when he was going into the hospital and getting worse and things were going to end, he refused to tell any of us. He fully planned on going in, dying, and then we just kind of find out, like, oh yeah, by the way, Dad's dead. And he thought that was better, and you know, parents aren't always right. Because he was really wrong. That would have sucked way worse for that to happen. But he also, it's like he didn't want people to see him a certain way, and because of that, none of the grandkids were brought to see him because he wanted them to remember him when he could actually get up and move around. So he went into the hospital, and the doctors were telling my mother, you know, it's happening. This is the start of it, and there's nothing you can do about it at this point. And she was trying really hard to keep his wish, which was not to tell any of us what was going on. And it was eating away at her just thinking about it. And who wouldn't have that problem being told that and having to deal with that burden of this person's about to die, but I can't tell anybody about it, and I know all the people, and they're one text away. Finally, she texted me out of frustration that she couldn't handle the stress of it, and she just told me what the doctors were saying, and she laid it all out. That's all she had to do. And I went ahead and started, you know, putting out the call, telling everybody that it's time to come out, you know. My sister out in Chattanooga, I said, you need to drive up as soon as possible. You know, my brother lives out in Worcester. It's like an hour and a half away. So everybody had to drive up, and I just kept sending messages to people. Eventually, I think I posted on Facebook because there was people that worked with him that wanted to come see him. And then we went in. I was at school that day. I had to leave school and get the kids, head home, and then I went up to the hospital, and I spent the whole day there. And it took quite a while to get the doctor to just come out and say it. And I don't know if it was like a liability thing or whatever. Like, they wouldn't say he's going to die. They just wouldn't say it. And I'm like, I want to hear you say the words. And it was me and my brothers talked to him. And finally they did. And so we got to the point of everybody saying goodbye, one-on-one. And he wasn't gone yet. He was still talking. He was in a lot of pain. But it was slowly branching off. And by the end of that by the end of the second night, we all went home the first night. And then we came back the next day. And we spent the whole day again. And he was still slightly able to talk and do some stuff. And I think it was by the afternoon that day, there was no talking to him. That was it. There was one more time in that stage where I went back in and talked to him again. And it was different than the first time I talked to him, where we were joking and having fun and everything. And I was holding his hand. And the absolute last interaction I had with him where I knew he was aware of it was that, because he actually slightly squeezed my hand a bit, and that was it. I went home that night. He wasn't gone yet, but I knew that was the last time I was going to see him alive. I wasn't coming back. I couldn't. And it was the reverse of his thing. He didn't want us to see him that way, and I was to the point where I saw him the way he's going to be at the end. Elliot's playing. I saw him the way he was going to be at the end, and we were done. There was nothing. I didn't want to watch it happen. It's just not something I wanted to see. So I went home, and the next day I can't remember any of it at all. Not 1 ounce of that next day. The only thing I remember is sitting down watching TV with Brittany, and I'm not really watching it. I'm just kind of staring at it. And then I got this really sick feeling. And so I went to text my brother to say, how's he doing? This is around 9 o'clock. And as I'm writing out that text, my phone starts ringing, and it's him. And he calls me to tell me that he's gone. And that's the end of it. I remember I started texting just everybody that hadn't been at the hospital or couldn't make it out. Dad's gone. Dad's gone. Dad's gone. Same thing, just over and over again to different people. And about the 5th or 6th one, I read it, and that's when I lost it. And what? I'm making a video. That's when I lost it, and I sobbed for quite a while. But the reason I wanted to share that story was because go over and sit down. Go sit back down for a minute. Is because of the reality of having to go through that. And there was something that somebody said to me that actually helped. And it's something I'd like to share with the world, all 2 of you. But they had said that everybody's going to try and tell you the bullcrap excuse. It's going to get better. It's going to, or not excuse, but attempt at making you feel better. It'll get better. They're in a better place. All the things that don't actually help at all, and in some cases might make things a lot worse. Especially when you say it will get better. It doesn't ever get better. It hasn't from the day it happened to now. See, I almost broke down telling you the story. Like it's like it just happened. Is what it feels like. That was in 2017. It's 2021, and it still hurts just as bad. And what he had said was, it's not, the pain doesn't go away. You don't stop hurting. It doesn't get better. You get stronger. And the reason why that pain is so important, why it matters so much, is because you know that you still loved that person, that they meant something to you, they were important, and they're still a part of you. And that's what that pain reminds you of. Because the moment you don't hurt for somebody you lost is the moment you no longer care that they're gone. And that was what I needed to hear. To know in those moments, in this moment right here, and what the moment that prompted this video matters, because it reminds me of how important he was to me. It reminds me of how much I love him and miss him. And it gives me courage to keep going forward and trying to be a better person myself and a better dad, to give that love I have for my dad to my kids, and hope that they have that for me the day that I'm gone. And the last thing that he audibly said to me was to go out and finish school, live my life. Like, don't shut down over me. And so I pushed myself and kept doing it. And that's how I went from being in college, not having a degree, to now having my bachelor's, and am getting ready to start a job in therapy next month. So anyone out there that might happen upon this video and have that experience, or be currently looking for the slightest ray of light, number one, that advice from my dad, which is great. Just live your life. Don't let your life shut down because that one person, while they had that impact on you and it hurts to have them gone, they weren't the only reason you were living, and they can't be the reason why you stopped. And then that pain and those moments when you need to break are important. And when you think really, really hard about it and you look deep down inside, you realize you don't want those moments ever to go away. Because, like I said, he said, that's the moment you don't care anymore. So there you go. Here's my make you cry YouTube story for you about my father. And back to your regularly scheduled happy fun and making fun videos me. And as always,